Like, it take a real motherfucker to get sober.
Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's not necessarily what you do. Because I promise you, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you will be okay.
What do we know about trauma scientifically? It changes the chemistry in the brain.
We can relate to one another, you know. That's why this camaraderie is so awesome, because we just get it and we don't judge.
You can't fight new battles with old tactics. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your character becomes your destiny.
What do you want to be remembered by when you're gone?
What's Grounded fam? It's your boy Johnny Gio. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Grounded Phoenix podcast. As always, the purpose of this channel is to express vulnerability and expand awareness to addiction, trauma, and mental health. I got my boy joining me, founder of Serenities, Martin. What's Grounded, brother?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to have you on. I know it's we had a couple of tries that we tried to get you on here,
Oh, yeah.
but finally you're able to get on, man. I really do appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to hearing your story, bro, because I've known you for a cool minute through Instagram, and I haven't gotten the opportunity to get to know about like your journey in recovery and like what you've been through with addiction. So to start off with, man, I would like for you to just kind of introduce yourself, maybe talk about how it used to be, then we get into the recovery aspect. And then I really want to get into a topic um, that I think it's not talked about enough, or at least it's not clarified. And maybe we could really dive deep into that topic. And it also involves serenities, because I think that's part of your mission statement of this subject. So just giving you a heads up, I think you got an idea of what it might be
Okay.
about.
Okay.
But without further ado, brother, please, share your story, your journey, and how far you've come right now and everything that you've had to
Oh,
overcome.
cool, man. Again, thank you, brother, for having me, man. I appreciate it. And I know
Of
we've
course.
been trying to hook up for a few times now, and you know that life on life's term stuff goes down, and you just got to take care of business. But yeah, again, Martin. I'm the founder of Serenities. I'm a grateful recovering addict, and today I have 1,258 days clean. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, going back, let's see. So 1,259 days ago, I found myself in a hotel room. In a hotel room here in Vegas. I was laying on the floor, the bathroom floor, and I had a pocket knife in my right hand and a half-inch gash on my left wrist. And yeah, I woke up and I saw the bathtub was full, and like I sat up and like struggling to get up and stand up straight. I saw my reflection in the mirror, and first thing that came to mind was like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing to my boys? That's the first time I thought of somebody other than myself in a very, very long time. But yeah, but to kind of take it back, I grew up in a super religious family. My dad was in the military. I got straight A's in school, and went to church, and did all that stuff. And growing up, we had a house rule. Alcohol and cigarettes are for adults, and I grew up in the '80s, and the Reagan era. Dare to say no to drugs. So we didn't do
Mm,
drugs. But like most adolescent teens, me and my friends dabbled with alcohol on the weekends, and sneaking a cigarette or two from our parents' unattended packs of cigarettes. And that was pretty much the extent of my teenage years. I didn't do any drugs. I was offered it a couple times in junior high school and one time in high school, but again, I said no. I didn't do drugs because I was taught drugs were bad. It wasn't really until I moved to Vegas that my addiction kind of became aware to me. I came out here when I was in between 21 and 22 years old. I went out here with a bunch of friends, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with Vegas like immediately. And we were out here for a week. I decided to stay an extra week. One of my boys stayed with me. The rest of my friends went back. And I started looking for jobs. I started, doing interviews and filling out applications. And after that second week went by, I went back to work, and I got a phone call the following Monday, and one of the places I checked out was like, "Hey, we have a position for you if you're down." And I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I moved to Vegas 2 weeks later. And yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, dude, that's I'm telling you, I fell in love like instantaneously. And yeah, once I moved out here, it was on. Like it was on from the get-go. I was hitting the casino almost every night. I fell in love with blackjack. Blackjack was my thing. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It got crazy. I was working my job. I'd get off of work. I'd go to the casino and gamble. And depending on how much money I won or lost, sometimes I'm there an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes I'm there all friggin' night. And there'll be times where I'd leave the casino and go straight back to work. So that's how crazy it was. And of course, being in the casino, with the gambling, drinking and smoking cigarettes almost came too easy. So I did that for years, for a few years. Had a couple of failed relationships, got married a couple times, and when those failed, I got introduced to the nightlife scene here in Vegas. Started going to clubs, started going to bars, strip clubs, almost like a regular thing. And then I was introduced to club drugs. One of the first things I did was ecstasy. And yeah, funny story actually. My little brother was the one that turned me onto it, and which was a total shocker to me, right? We're hanging out. He was visiting Vegas from Southern California. I grew up in Long Beach actually. And yeah, so he
Nice.
was visiting Vegas, and we were hanging out, and we had some mutual friends that we were hanging out with, and we were at this concert at the House of Blues, and the concert was done, and we were hanging out with some friends that kind of took care of all the stage stuff, the soundboard and all that, and once they turned the House of Blues into an after hours club, people started coming in, DJs started playing music, and one of my brother's friends was like, "Hey, let's turn this up a notch," and started handing out pills. And I was like, "No, I'm good, man. I got my beer, and I'm straight with my beer." And I'm looking at my brother. I'm like shaking my head no, and he's just kind of looking at me with this blank stare. And then like about 10 minutes later, he pulls me aside and he was like, "Dude, I've done this before. Ecstasy isn't that bad. If you want, I'll split it with you. And if, after a couple hours you don't like it, then you don't like it." And so, yeah, my brother talked me into popping my first ecstasy pill. And I kid you not, dude, once I popped that pill, it was like this light switch that went on in my head. And I never looked back after that. It was just nonstop, like for the next 4 months. And I'll tell you why 4 months specifically. I was hitting the clubs like every single night, and started making my own friends and starting to meet a lot more people and popping pills. And then from popping pills, I'm like doing coke, and I'm trying, weed. I'm trying ketamine, GHB. I mean, you name it. All the club drugs that was circulating the nightclubs. I was doing them all. And so fast forward to 4 months later, I was dealing, right? So I started dealing because I was getting a cheaper price per pill if I was buying them bulk. And next thing I know, I'm like dealing to my friends, and one of my bartender friends. I was hooking him up with a hundred pills, and he was hooking up his roommate, who was hooking up an undercover cop. And so I got busted. So I got busted. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got busted. Went to jail, and I was looking at 10 years. I was looking at 10 years. Um, but I ended up getting out of it like pretty crazily. My girlfriend at the time, her cousin's godfather was my judge. So I pretty much got a slap on the wrist. Like I got time served, 2 years probation, 1 year of drug counseling, and that was it. And I did that. I did the drug counseling for a year, and after I completed that, I ended up going back to court. And the judge was like, "Okay, well, since you did your drug counseling. I'll drop your probation to time served, which was a year, and I had a misdemeanor, which was dropped down to a gross misdemeanor. And yeah, dude, what did I do after that happened, dude? I celebrated. I celebrated with my friends. Went on a 4 or 5 day bender. Just disappeared. Nobody knew where I was at. I just was just hitting clubs, bars, people's houses, just one party after another, and just got loaded, just got messed up. Um, yeah, so that was pretty much the start of my addiction. At the time, I didn't think I was addicted. I just figured I was just having fun, just hanging out and partying with friends. But then fast forward to so this was in 2000. Fast forward to 2004, actually 2005. My girlfriend, who I was talking to you about earlier, she's my wife now, and we had our first kid. And after we had our first kid, I got into a really bad car accident, screwed up my back and my neck and my wrist and stuff. And that's when I was introduced to prescription pills. I've never done prescription pills before because I've never really been in the hospital or injured or anything like that. So he prescribed me physical therapy and put me on pain management and started taking at the time Lortabs. So I was taking Lortabs. So I did that for about 2 to 3 months. And after, I wasn't abusing them. I was just taking them as prescribed. After about 2, 3 months, I started noticing I was like having a hard time sleeping at night, and just was just like awake, like in the evening. I wouldn't fall asleep until like maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I have to wake up at 7 to go to work. So I went to my doctor, talked to him about that, and he tells me, this is a common side effect for this medication. So he prescribes me Ambien. So I start taking Ambien. Again, not abusing my medication by any means. I'm still partying on the weekends with friends and, my wife's friends. And I was taking, painkillers, now Ambien, and another 2 months go by. Um, I started noticing where like now I'm not like wanting to get up in the morning. I'm super groggy. I'm feeling lethargic and just like bleh, I'm like at work and I just don't feel motivated. Um, so again, back to my doctor, talk to him about that. Um, so rewind to when I was a kid. I'm actually diagnosed ADHD. Um, but I was never given any medication. I was supposed to be like on Ritalin, but my mom didn't want me to be on any of that stuff, so I never did it. So I talked to my doctor about that, and he's like, "Well, I'll just prescribe you Adderall." And so he started prescribing me Adderall, and Adderall was like, "Oh wow, man, this thing's amazing!" Like I take a pill, and like 20 minutes later, I'm just like, boom, I'm like alert. It's like coffee on steroids type thing. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I was taking Adderall, Ambien, and Lortabs like 5 months after my car accident. And so like fast forward to like 7 months, 8 months after my car accident, I was at work and I experienced my first panic attack. I've never had one before. I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was dying. I was like working, and next
Yeah.
thing I know, I'm like having a hard time breathing. My hands were getting clammy. My the heart
Yeah.
started pounding and beating super fast, and like I was like on the verge of like passing out because I'm hyperventilating. And my boss calls paramedics 911, and they show up. They wheel me out in a gurney, and I'm in the ambulance. They got me hooked up to oxygen, and like they're testing my blood pressure and all this stuff, and all the while trying to talk to me, asking me, all these questions. And so I let them know I'm on all these medications. And so like after like a good few minutes, the oxygen kind of helped me stabilize my breathing. And the EMT was just like, this is some serious stuff that you're on, and it might be a good idea to talk to your doctor about that. um So I did. So they didn't take me to the hospital. I, they were able to calm me down and get me regulated back down to normal. And, my boss sends me home, and I said, I'm gonna go to my doctor and kind of let him know what's going on. Went to the doctor that same day and talked to him all about that. And he didn't change my medication regimen by any means. He just prescribes me another pill. So now I'm on Xanax. So so after 8 months of a car accident, I'm taking a cocktail of painkillers, sleeping medication, ADHD medication, and now anti-anxiety medication. Um, but I was fine. So I did that for a solid 13 years. A solid 13 years. Yeah,
Wow.
I was taking those pills like steadily, not abusing, but again, still partying on the weekends with friends and family and whatnot. It wasn't until like 2013 I had discovered my wife was having an affair, and so like I just woke up one morning in the emergency room. And in the emergency room, the doctor was all asking me these questions like, "Hey, are you trying to harm yourself?" I'm like, "No, I'm not trying to harm myself." And he's like, "Well, you had an excessive amount of Ambien in your system." He said something like around 12 or 13 extra pills that I had taken. And so unbeknownst, yeah, so
Whoa.
unbeknownst to me, in my subconscious, I'm like thinking like, well, maybe I was trying to kill myself, right? So,
Right.
so yeah, I got held for 72 hours. I was ordered to go to psychiatry, which I ended up doing, which evolved into like marriage counseling. And come to find out through marriage counseling, my wife was complaining that I wasn't present. I mean, I was present. I was at home, but I wasn't like present with the family stuff. I wasn't like going to soccer games, soccer practices, and karate tournaments and all that stuff. And so we talked about it and found that the problem was me being always doped up on my medication. And so, I got off of it, and that was my first experience of withdrawals. And I'd never done withdrawals before because, again, I just did my stuff regularly, right? And I tried so hard to like stay off of it, but like it was like it's the most miserable feeling. Like your skin's just like trying to like come off your bones, and like everything inside you's on fire. All your joints are achy. Like you're in so much pain that I couldn't handle it. So I just started sneaking pills, just popping pills just to kind of ease the pain that I was going through. And so I did that for the next 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. And then I find out my girl is having an affair again. And that's when I just said, you know what, screw this, we're done. You know, we parted ways, and it was like my way of getting back at her was like, dude, I'm gonna worry about me now. Fuck all y'all. And it's all about the Martin show again. Started hitting the clubs and the bars and all that, and started drinking more, and started doing all the club drugs again. And by this time weed was legal, so I started smoking more weed, and it just got crazy. Um, Towards the end there in 2018, the last probably 6 months, just stuff just started falling apart. I'd stopped. I was finding all these excuses not to see my kids, and like, work was starting to suffer, and like my bills were starting to pile up. And I had this one big argument with my wife. We were still married at the time, and we were in a master bedroom, and I just wanted to get out of there because I didn't want to deal with it. And she was calling me all these things, and I opened the master bedroom door, and my two boys were standing right outside the door, both of them crying. And I was just like, that was like the dagger that just like stabbed me in the heart. And I was just like literally done. Like I'm already feeling like a failure as a husband, and just failure at everything, right? As a father now. And that's when I decided I was going to end it all. I went driving just to kind of clear my head, and just I was just dead set in my head that I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. Um, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. Went back to the house, packed all my pills up, took all the pills that my wife had as well because she's a pill popper too. Checked into a hotel, and I just laid all this stuff out onto the bed and just started downing every single bottle, with the whiskey that I had bought from the gift shop. Laid in bed, turned on the TV, and passed out. And I wake up the next morning at 6:04 in the morning. I was just like, what the hell? I should have been dead because I had taken like 20 different things, half a bottle of this, a full bottle of that. And I was just like surprised that I was still alive. And I was just like tripping out and like, I'm out of stuff. So I just went on Craigslist, started looking for whatever I could find, found this dealer. I met up with him at another casino, and he sold me a ball of Crystal, a half a ball of Coke, and a couple of Mollies. I just said, just give me everything you have. And I paid for it, went back to the hotel room, same thing, just opened everything up, dumping it in my hands, and just downing it all. And same thing, just laid in bed, turned on the TV, and I was out. And again, the next morning I wake up at around 11:30, and this time I was covered in blood. Had dried blood all on my face, on my neck, on my shirt, on my sheets. And honestly, I don't remember the rest of that day. I think I just started drinking, just drinking, drinking, drinking. And yeah, that very next morning, that's when I found myself in the bathroom, with a pocket knife. Um, so yeah, so when I said that and was like tripping out, why am I doing this to my boys? I went home and called my wife and I said I'm home, and she's all tripping out. Um, but to fast forward, I ended up calling my work, and they recommended that I call a couple of treatment centers. So I started calling the treatment centers. The first one was an answering machine. I didn't leave a message. The second one just kept ringing, and the third one, someone picked up. And yeah, I can still hear her voice. Her name was Whitney, and she just started talking to me and just asking me how I'm doing and how am I feeling, what did I just go through, and she was like, "We can take you in like right now." And I talked about it over with my wife, and I said I want to hang out with the boys tonight because I hadn't seen them in a few days. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this treatment center, so let me hang out with the boys. We watched a movie, ate dinner, and went to bed. The next morning, she came back. She helped me pack, and she took me to the treatment center. And yeah, I checked in. I did a 5-day detox, 15-day inpatient, and a 45-day outpatient. And yeah, I never looked back after that. So that's yeah.
Wow.
So in a nutshell, that's my story. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to try to get it all in there.
Oh my God, man. Thank you for sharing that, dude. I'm just blown away on how you just survived those 2 to 3 nights that you just went on this bender and just popping basically
Yeah,
everything to just pretty much, end your life right there, dude. And then, the when you told me about, like you stared at your two boys and you felt like a failure. I have two boys myself, man, and I wasn't, they're older now, so like I've been sober longer than they've been, alive. But I could not imagine myself, feeling the way you did and overcoming that, dude. So props
yeah.
to you for doing that, man. A lot of props to you for doing that. I gotta ask though, man, like, how do you think you managed to survive those couple of nights that you think, it was like the end of days for you? Because it sounds to me like that wasn't like anything you did in particular, and I'm trying to get into like some higher power stuff right here.
I saw that coming. No, no, for real though. I think that's what it is because, like I said, the last 6 months of my active addiction, I literally was praying every single night, like, Lord, just take me because I don't want to live like this anymore. because I mean, I wasn't out like scrounging money to buy my fix. I was getting it from my doctor, but it was still just like a struggle to just like get up, and I had to take these pills, otherwise I would be going through withdrawals, and then like it's still a daily struggle to like keep up with that stuff. And yeah, so I was praying every night, just take me. I don't want to wake up anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. And my prayers were answered. It wasn't the way that I had originally prayed for, but like it still worked out the way I had prayed for it, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? So
Oh
it
yeah.
still worked out. I mean, my prayers were still answered, not like the way I was kind of thinking in my head, but like it still got answered. But yeah, no, dude, it's all about the higher power. Like even like that morning when I woke up and I saw myself in the mirror, it's like, I look back and that was like my first spiritual awakening, so to speak, like
Mm.
like that come to Jesus moment where I was just like thinking of somebody else other than myself. When I was looking at myself in the mirror, I could literally just like see my boys, like what am I doing to these two boys? And yeah, man, it's that higher power stuff, man. It works in mysterious ways.
Bro, I've had that similar incident as you would, like, staring yourself in the mirror, bloody nose, looking weak, just torn up, and thinking about somebody else other than myself, and that gave me, the inspiration and power to keep on going. Bro, like you said, that prayer was fucking answered, and it wasn't answered in the way you
Yeah,
thought it would, but that shit was answered. And we talk about, being a phoenix bird and the symbolism of it. You were basically reborn again into the Martin we are now. The Serenities
yeah,
Martin, bro. Like, so man, what a story, dude. And I really, relate to the whole casino part. Not that I've been involved in like the casino and gambling, but I just recently got into blackjack, and man, it's addicting,
oh
bro.
yeah, oh yeah,
Bro, you just go in the casino and you hear everybody playing with the chips. That for me is like, ooh,
yeah,
wait, here we go, man. I may not be the best at blackjack, but I've won a couple of times, and when you win, you get that
oh
dopamine
yeah.
hit, and you just want to stay in there. You know, um, and I don't want to get too caught up and get into talking about that because we'll probably be on here talking about it. But um, you know, I want to talk about like the outpatient because I haven't really had many people on here to talk about. You said you had 45 days
Yeah,
outpatient. How was that for you, and how were you able to do it? You said you did 5 days of
5 days
detox,
of detox, 15 inpatients,
and
and then
then
45 outpatient.
so after the inpatient stuff, how were you able to do it without being locked up? Because I know that's a hard thing to do for many people. So how were you able to do that?
So when I went into treatment, I lost my job, so I didn't have any like work to go to. One of the things that my wife helped me out with was she went in the house and literally cleared the house out. All the alcohol was gone, all the pill bottles were gone. And when I was in treatment, when I was doing the inpatient stuff, I was introduced to, well, we didn't have a choice. We had to go to all these anonymous programs, NA, AA, CMA, I mean, you name it. We had to go to every single one of them. And one of them really stood out to me, and it was Narcotics Anonymous. And I ended up going and meeting one of the BHTs at the treatment center. He became kind of like my temporary sponsor, and I talked to him a lot about what was going on with me, and he related on so many levels with his stories and shares with me because I was up in the middle of the night walking the hallways and whatnot, and he would just pull me aside and would just like talk to me just to see what's going on. He actually gave me my first NA book, which I still have to this day. And so yeah, when I went to outpatients, I was talking to him, and he was like, "Just go to meetings, bro. Just go to meetings. If you're feeling some type of way, you got all these thoughts going on in your head, or if you feel like you're isolating, just go to a meeting. You don't have to share. You don't have to do anything. Just sit there and listen to everybody else share." And I did that. I I kid you not. I must have gone to like 2, 3 meetings a day sometimes. Yeah,
Oh,
or
Okay.
sometimes I would just hang out at the treatment center and just like, they had stuff going on pretty much through the evening, and then when those activities were over, I would just go home and try to get some rest.
All right, cool. All right, so you basically brought the rehab or the treatment center to you because I consider, maybe a meeting kind of, involving yourself with that kind of energy because you're surrounded by a bunch of addicts and alcoholics, but more so with experience with sober time, so you get to feel and you get to hear and look back at the stuff that has happened and reflect, but then also reflect on the positive things and like the recovery aspect, and going through the steps, and all being really surrounded by what you want to be in a
Hmm.
sense, right? So I think that is very helpful. I know, to some of the people that I've interviewed, and friends of my own, it really has helped them, and that's how they, continue to stay sober. I think it's a trip, bro. Now, I was just stuck thinking about how you were, a drug dealer, and you were slanging, and I kind of look at the doctor that same way, dude,
Yeah,
because I don't know if they get incentivized for pushing certain medications, but after that first time he saw you go in there, basically having a panic attack at that same day, and he prescribed you Xanax after to freaking, add to the cocktail. Like that's bad, dude. I mean, as a doctor, you should know the symptoms, and you should know how detrimental that could be to your health, and then to continue prescribing that. I don't know if you self-prescribed that or he continued to sign off on that for what, 13 years
yeah,
you said?
13 years. But
That
to add to that, the doctor wasn't just a regular doctor. I mean, yeah, he was a general practitioner, but he was actually a family doctor, like a close friend even. Like I had him on my cell phone. Like I can literally just text him and be like, "Yo, my prescription's running up. I need to get a refill." And he was like, "All right, well, just come to the office and it'll be up front." Like it was like that. Like it wasn't like one of your typical doctors. I've known this guy for years before like I started taking prescription pills. So I mean, I think because of that relationship, it made it easier for me to get what I wanted. And plus, I'm an addict, dude. It's like I'm gonna say whatever I'm gonna say so that you can sign off on the shit that I want to take, right? So that's how that relationship was. I mean, he didn't bat an eye, and I was still coming in. I was still alive. I mean, I did have to take a blood test every time I went to go in and get a refill because I guess he had to make sure that the stuff that he was prescribing me was in my system. So, but for legal purposes, I guess he had to do that. So yeah, every 30
right.
days I was getting a refill. Every 30 days I was given a blood test. So, but yeah, no, I mean it was easy because he was a friend slash my doctor.
Wow, that's crazy. Did you think if it was a different doctor, he would have kept prescribing that? Because I mean, initially you went in there because you got in a really bad car
Yeah.
accident. Were you in pain, or were you? I mean, you were just an addict at this point.
Yeah, no, I really was in pain. I actually did go through some major. I still feel it to this day. My lower back is
Okay.
never going to be the same. Like I can't sit Indian style on the floor to play with my kid right now because it hurts so bad. But no, actually, even before my doctor, my doctor friend, I had my own doctor. Um, the new doctor that was giving me all this stuff was actually my wife's doctor, but I had already known him
Mm.
because my wife was already seeing him. But I had my other doctor, that was my regular doctor that I've had before my wife. But because he wasn't prescribing me what I wanted, I switched over to her doctor. And again, because of that personal relationship, it made it easier for me to get what I wanted.
All right, all right. Really, really quick, bro. What do you do for your lower back pain now without taking any prescription medication or painkillers? Assuming that you are not on any, which, if you are, I mean, sometimes you do gotta take. Uh, I respectfully respect anybody's journey on sobriety because sometimes people, they do have to take certain medications that are
Yeah,
narcotics.
no, I mean, for the most part now, I don't take anything. I mean, if it gets really, really bad, I'll take Advil. And sometimes I just take Tylenol for my headaches. But for the most part, stretching, I did start working out a little bit. It's a little hard. It's a little
Mm,
hard because I have a 2-year-old toddler that runs around the house, and I work from
mm-hmm.
home, so I'm a stay-at-home dad and work from home. So finding the
Awesome.
time to like work out. I do have a setup in the backyard, kind of like what you got, but
Nice.
but yeah, again, finding the time. But for the most part, I do a lot of stretching and just I try to do yoga. I learned how to do some yoga in the treatment center, but again, trying to implement the yoga moves and stuff in the house when you have a 2-year old trying to get in your face, it's a little bit hard. But yeah, but I manage with um, just your typical over-the-counter Advil.
Damn, bro, living life on the edge now, huh? Tylenol and
Yeah,
ibuprofen.
that's it, man. Dude, I have a phobia of pills, man. I don't know if they're like triggers or whatever, but for the most part,
Mm,
if I'm in real pain or if my head hurts because I get migraines sometimes, then I'll take it. But for the most part, if I can avoid taking it, I'll avoid taking it.
right on. Right on, brother. Thank you for sharing all that, bro. I want to move forward and just talk about Serenities. How has that journey been like, coming to like starting your own clothing brand now and with that I want to talk about I guess the motto on the Instagram is, ending the stigma and wearing your recovery with pride. Let's talk about the stigma and Serenities and how does it go hand in hand?
Well, funny story. Serenities kind of started out where me and my current girl now. We met in the rooms, and actually I knew her for a few years back. We used to party together. My first official meeting out of treatment, I sat in the back and she was up front. And when I announced myself as a newcomer, she's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" So we started hanging out and started going to meetings together. And I noticed people wearing, recovery clothing, and it wasn't really anything that really stood out to me. But because I'm a graphic artist by trade, I was like, yeah, that stuff doesn't look good. I wouldn't wear that. So I just started shopping around, checking out other people's clothing lines and Amazon or eBay or whatever. And my girl was like, "You're a graphic artist. Why don't you just create your own line of stuff?" So that's what I did.
Hell
So
yeah.
I just started creating a bunch of stuff, just something real quick, and got a bunch of stuff printed, and we started wearing them to meetings, and our friends started noticing. I was like, "Hey, where'd you get those shirts?" And you know, we made them. So, well, where can we get some? So that's when I created the store, and so now all my friends here in Vegas started buying the shirts, and when the pandemic hit, we were like twiddling our thumbs, sitting at home. My girl couldn't work, and my job kind of slowed down because all the clients had to shut down too. So like just started
Hmm.
brainstorming, and we're like, how can we take Serenities to the masses? So we started creating more designs, and I just started hitting people up on Instagram, and actually Nick, one of the first people I hit up was Nick, and Nick started introducing me to other people, and it kind of just blew up from there. Um, I mean, a
Nice.
little selfishly, when I started the Instagram community, I wanted to sell my shirts, right? I wanted to sell my shirts. But then, like, after like meeting all you guys, you and Nick and Alika, and I mean, the list goes on. It's like, man, these guys are doing like some pretty amazing things for the communities. Like, how do I get involved in some of that stuff? And I,
Hmm.
you guys all of you guys just pretty much inspired me, and it made it more about the shirts and more about recovery as a whole. And I started kind of focusing more on sharing my story and resharing other people's. And I even got involved on a local level, like legislatively. Just actually, I was on a Zoom call with our governor a couple months ago about yeah,
Wow.
yeah, with a Project Recovery here in Las Vegas. And you know
Nice.
we I guess the state got awarded a bunch of money from some big pharma opioid lawsuit or whatever, and we were just on this Zoom call with him trying to help, like, help him make the right decisions on where to spend that money, right? So, like, just stuff like that. It's like, it's more than just the shirts now. It's more about like getting the message out there that we as addicts, we're not these low life scumbags that are pieces of crap, that we actually recover, and we go on to have normal productive lives. We raise families, we own homes, we own cars and businesses, and that's there's another side of us. Yeah, we were this at one point, but we're not that anymore. We're just like you guys, and just trying to help get that message out, especially to those that are afraid to ask for help. you know I just want to be hopefully someone's like lifeline, basically. Just give me a shout or read my post and know that I was you, at one point or another. Yeah.
Wow, brother. Very well said, man. Very well said, dude. I really appreciate your time, bro. And I definitely want to tap in with you because I think you might be able to help me out to create some designs, brother. I'm gonna tap in with you, so for sure we could get into some projects. Um, Before I let you go, man, I gotta ask you the signature question. I'm pretty
Oh
sure you
yeah,
already
yeah.
know
Oh
what it
yeah.
is. You know, there's three things in life that I feel are guaranteed and marked in our gravestone, and that's our birthday, the day we pass, and that dash in the middle that represents that life we lived. What is Martin from Serenities gonna be remembered by? What is your mark gonna be, brother?
Dude, that I'm not that failure that I thought I was. In my
Yeah.
last days of my active addiction, I told you before, I was a failure as a father, failure as a husband, failure at life, failure at pretty much everything that I was doing. And now, man, after seeing the lights and just seeing and experiencing what recovery has to offer, I'm not that failure, man. I have a wonderful relationship with my two kids that, like I said, I saw in the mirror. I have a new fiance, a new baby. I have new house. Just got a new car. My business is thriving, dude. It's all because of recovery, and a failure wouldn't have all that. And yeah, man, I'm super grateful for what I have today. I worked hard for it, and I'm gonna keep working hard for whatever's next. It's more will be revealed. So as they say in Narcotics Anonymous, and as long as I keep doing the right thing, keep moving forward, there's more stuff ahead of me.
I'll never be the same.